Order. For the purpose of invocation, I'd like to invite up Reverend Darren Kessler.
Proverbs 11:14 says, "For lack of guidance, a nation falls, but victory is won through many advisors." Pray with me, please. Almighty God, we humbly seek your guidance for our government officials. May they lead with wisdom, discernment, and a commitment to justice. Grant them the strength to make decisions that benefit our community. Pray for them now as they go into this meeting to be able to do this. In your name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend. Very much appreciate your words of peace and grace to begin our meeting today. If everyone will please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, turning to the county attorney for certification of the agenda.
Yes, sir. The County Attorney's Office reviewed all items on the agenda, and the board has appropriate jurisdiction over these matters.
Thank you, Counselor. Commissioners, any disclosures for any items on this agenda?
I have none, thank you.
And nor do I. We're going to go ahead and start off today with several ceremonies and proclamations. First one is a resolution proclaiming the week of November 4th, 2024 as Law Enforcement Records Personnel Week. Tommy Barella, Captain of the Douglas County Sheriff's Department. Although I see the sheriff standing. Come on forward, Sheriff. You can do it too. It's no big deal.
Thank you, Commissioners. Sheriff Darren Weekly here. Thank you for honoring our law enforcement records personnel. These individuals are truly the unsung heroes, the civilian personnel behind the Douglas County Sheriff's Office. Our civilian personnel are truly the backbone of our organization. And so I brought up with me Sean Coleman, who is the manager of our records section. A couple stats for you. First and foremost, our records personnel ensure that the Sheriff's Office and thereby the county is in compliance with all the legal requirements whenever we take a law enforcement record. So that's literally tens of thousands of law enforcement reports that are taken throughout the year. In addition to that, the hours upon hours upon hours of body camera footage that is also retained by the Sheriff's Office. Just to give you a few stats, our traffic citations have risen by 35%. From 2022 to 2023, with the changes in statute in terms of the sealing of cases, their workload is going to go up by 138% just in that arena alone. Our CGRA, the Criminal Justice Records Act, pertaining to 2024, this thus far is up 24% from last year, and that is up 88% from 5 years prior. In terms of doing the body cam footage, that takes approximately 3 man-hours to appropriately redact certain information from the body-worn camera footage that our deputies have to go through every day. So let's say Deputy Sheriff goes out on call for service. You have 2 or 3 deputies there, depending on the call for service. Every single one of those videos have to be redacted. All of this in terms of the additional workload that is put on our civilian staff, just to give you an idea of all they do for our organization, for the citizens that we serve. And so I brought up with me Sean Coleman. And Sean, I don't know if you'd like to say a few words.
Sure. We're very grateful for this week. It's important to us to feel supported, and it, just really gives us the want and the will to continue to strive for the excellence. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Sean. Thank you, Sheriff. Commissioners, we do have the text of the resolution in our packet. Any questions or comments at this time for the Sheriff or Sean?
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. And Sheriff Sean, thank you so much for just being here in the county with us today. We had a great opportunity to connect with the sheriff and the undersheriff earlier this morning, and we're constantly reminded of how important public safety is to our entire county, our entire community, and certainly all the amazing municipalities, many of which are represented here today. We back the blue in Douglas County. We don't defund the police, we fund the police, and any opportunity to recognize you all for the tremendous work you do is a great honor for us, so thank you.
Commissioner.
I think it's wonderful to see civilian employees in law enforcement being publicly recognized. I was a dispatcher at the Arapahoe County Sheriff's Department. I also spent 7 years as a dispatcher at the Colorado State Patrol. And we were never involved in any kind of honor or award. But man, there was a saying that went around, if the dang train jumps the track, you know who's going to get in trouble, right? And so I just really am pleased, Sheriff, that you are here with your civilian staff and recognizing them, because they are the backbone for what law enforcement does. Without them connecting all the dots behind the radio, a lot of things would be missed. So thank you for what you do, and share that with all of your coworkers, please.
Wow, Sheriff, you get a major element of your budget approved, and then you get a resolution for your office?
It's been a good day, I'm not going to lie.
I'll tell you what, this is a story to tell your buddies up in Denver and other places where they probably don't get the same treatment.
There you go.
Hey, thanks for bringing this forward to recognize, as Commissioner Thomas said, you know, so many times our non-commissioned personnel in our law enforcement agencies, you know, they're like part of they're almost like the furniture. I mean, they just don't get recognition. They don't get recognized. And so I really appreciate it, because with a family member who is now in law enforcement, I do have a greater appreciation myself for all the non-commissioned personnel that still play such a pivotal role for us in our law enforcement agencies. So thank you for bringing this forward, Sheriff. And Board, how would we like to proceed with this resolution?
Mr. Chair, if it pleases the board, I have a motion that the Board of County Commissioners support a resolution proclaiming the week of November 4th, 2024 as Law Enforcement Records Personnel Week.
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And the resolution is adopted. Sheriff Sean, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, hey, get picture time. Hang on, Sheriff, and pull up. I see a couple other uniformed personnel in the room. Let's get them up too.
You're part of this. Hey, Kevin had back there too. Trying to get him up here. Kevin?
Yeah, get Kevin up. Come on up, Duffy.
Oh, you're listening to the sheriff?
You're listening to the sheriff, you don't listen to me? How long do you know each other?
Thank you. Shake my hand, coach. Running away.
By the way, I have full expectation that Drew's going to be getting a workout for his camera. So those of you who may be mentioned, be forewarned. Our next item is a resolution supporting Veterans Day and Operation Greenlight. Chris Mays, Veteran Service Office Supervisor, not presenting for staff. Instead, we're going to hear from the Deputy County Manager, Barbara Drake.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I think we had a failure to communicate here. I'm not sure that Chris Mays ever got invited to this meeting to do the resolution. So a couple of options. I can read it. Commissioner Teal, you could read it, or you could go ahead and do the SCFD, and I could see if Chris is available to come over.
Well, let's keep chugging along, Barbara, if you could
Okay.
please.
Okay. All right, I'll be glad to read it. Thank you. This is a resolution supporting Veterans Day and Operation Greenlight. Whereas the residents of Douglas County have great respect, admiration, and the utmost gratitude for all men and women who have selflessly served our country and this community in the armed forces. And whereas the contributions and sacrifices of those who served in the armed forces have been vital in maintaining the freedoms and way of life enjoyed by all citizens. And whereas Douglas County seeks to honor individuals who have made countless sacrifices for freedom by placing them in harm's way for the good of all. And whereas Douglas County is home to more than 27,000 veterans, and whereas veterans continue to serve our community in the American Legion, Veterans of Foreign Wars, religious groups, civil service, and by functioning as county veteran service officers in 29 states to help fellow former service members access more than $50 billion in federal health, disability, and compensation benefits each year. And whereas approximately 200,000 service members transition to civilian communities annually, and whereas an estimated 20% increase of service members will transition to civilian life in the near future. And whereas studies indicate that between 44 and 72% of service members experience high levels of stress during transition from military to civilian life. And whereas active military service members transitioning from military service are at a high risk for suicide during their first year after military service. Whereas Douglas County has invested in suicide prevention by offering treatment, mental health first aid training for veteran service officers, creating a mental health liaison for veterans within the Veterans Service Office, and providing information on the crisis line 988 to veterans. And whereas Douglas County joins the National Association of Counties and encourages all counties, parishes, and boroughs across the United States to recognize Operation Greenlight for veterans. Whereas Douglas County appreciates the sacrifice of our United States military personnel and believes specific recognition should be granted. And whereas at its Veterans Day event on November 11th, 2024, Douglas County will place special emphasis on Purple Heart veterans that have served our country along with all their veteran counterparts. And therefore, be it resolved with the designation as a green light for Veterans County, Douglas County hereby declares November 4th through November 11th, 2024, a time to salute and honor the services and sacrifices of our men and women in uniform transitioning from active service. Therefore, be it further resolved that in observance of Operation Greenlight, Douglas County encourages its citizens in patriotic tradition to recognize the importance of honoring all those who have made immeasurable sacrifices to preserve freedom by displaying green lights in a window of their place of business or residence from November 4th through the 11th, 2024. Passed and adopted, once you vote on it, this 4th day of November 2024 in Castle Rock, Douglas County, Colorado.
All right, thank you very much, Barbara. Very much appreciate you introducing that resolution. Board, any questions or comments for the Deputy County Manager?
Well, Mr. Chair, I think it goes without saying that in Douglas County, we deeply honor and respect the military just like we respect law enforcement. And for us, Operation Greenlight isn't just November 6th through the 12th, it's January 1st through December 31st. I know I'm deeply honored to be able to serve in this capacity alongside a veteran who reminds us every day of the importance of that sacrifice. You know, I think it's important for American governments to recognize those that through their service and sacrifice never forgot America. So thank you for bringing this forward, and of course, our best to everybody in Veteran Services.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner?
Barbara, thank you for bringing that forward and reading the resolution. There are so many things that all of us owe to veterans. I'm married to a veteran. My father was a veteran. And growing up, I had a lot of great uncles who served in World War II. And they just talked about it like it was everyday life, that it wasn't something stressful. And it wasn't until later in my life that I really learned what veterans deal with every day. And so I just think this is really important, Barbara, that we bring this forward and that we highlight to our citizens that we appreciate and we owe a debt of honor to our veterans, and that we invite all of our citizens to come along with us in that celebration. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Barbara, remind me, this is like our second year doing this, second, third year?
This is our second year for Operation Greenlight.
Okay. Well, folks, do consider heading home, getting some green light bulbs out, and just to show your appreciation. You'd be surprised the number of veterans that, maybe neighbors, maybe down the street. They don't make a lot of it. It isn't something that they wear on their sleeve, and you might be surprised to learn a few things about some of your friends, some of your neighbors by doing this. And it's just a small way to show appreciation, a small way to show the recognition that can sometimes feel as if it's lacking for veterans here in our community. With that said, we per capita, we have more veterans in Douglas County than any other county in the state of Colorado, which is a remarkable thing. About 10% of the entire adult population of the United States served in uniform during World War II. So 10% of every adult. And that doesn't sound like a lot. But today, really for the last 30, 40 years, only about 1% decide to join the military, one way or another. So not many veterans around, but if you could join us here at the county in showing appreciation, that would be great. And then just a plug for our Veterans Day ceremony this Saturday. We'll start getting everything set up at 10 o'clock, and the ceremony should begin at 11. And our focus is going to be on the Purple Heart. And we're going to have a great guest speaker who is a Navy SEAL, otherwise a lifelong firefighter. And we hope you all come on out. It'll be over here at the Wilcox, in front of the Wilcox building on Wilcox Street right here in Castle Rock. We hope to see everyone. Well, Board, we do seem to have a resolution before us. How would we like to dispose of it?
Were we going to do citizen comment or not, just before I do a motion?
Commissioner, we can absolutely have citizen comment. At this time, if you'd like to come forward and speak in citizen comment on this resolution supporting Veterans Day and Operation Greenlight, please step forward. Seeing none in the room. Troy, do we have anybody to make public comment online?
Thank you, Commissioner. I have no online comment.
All right, thank you, Troy. Bringing it back to the board for any action in support of this resolution.
I have a resolution supporting Veterans Day and Operation Greenlight.
And I'll second that.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and the resolution is adopted. Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Our next item is the 2024 Scientific and Cultural Facilities District Tier 3 grant distribution. Kim Smith, Community Resource Program Coordinator, on behalf of staff. Kim, take it away.
Commissioners, Kim Smith representing staff. Voters approved a 1/10 of 1% sales and use tax for cultural facilities throughout the 7-county Denver metro area in 1988 and again in 2016. The 1/10 of 1% sales and use tax equates to 1 penny for every $10 spent. Funds collected as part of the Scientific and Cultural Facilities District, or SCFD, are distributed to each of the 7 participating counties, including Adams, Arapahoe, Boulder, Broomfield, Denver, Douglas, and Jefferson counties. Each of the 7 counties has a cultural council responsible for recommending allocations for its county's annual portion of sales and use tax to Tier 3 organizations. Tier 3 recipients are the smaller organizations that provide more personal cultural experiences in our communities. The Board of County Commissioners certified Douglas County's allocation of Tier 3 SCFD grant funds on August 6, 2024. The allocation in the amount of $1,302,123.82 was awarded for 10 general operating support and 51 project grants for a total of 61 awards. All funds distributed benefit Douglas County residents by enlightening and entertaining through visual arts, performing arts, cultural history, and natural sciences. Organizations that received a grant award were invited here today to be recognized by the Board of County Commissioners. I'd like to take a moment to thank the Cultural Council members for their dedication and commitment to the Council as they spend numerous hours reviewing the grant applications and attending our meetings. I would also like to thank Tim Murphy, our Program Officer from SCFD. We also have representatives from the many organizations that are being awarded funds today that bring a variety of cultural opportunities to Douglas County residents. I would like to invite any of them to come up and say a few words at this time if they are interested.
All right, thank you, Kim. Do we have any recipients to these grants that would like to come forward and say a few words? Now, James, you're no stranger to the board, but please too tell us your name and where you're from.
Sure.
Organization
Jim
meeting.
Holmes, Cherokee Ranch and Castle Foundation. I just wanted to take a moment to thank each and every one of you, the commissioners, that continue to support the work of the Douglas County Cultural Committee. They, like all public servants that serve on citizen-informed boards, have a lot of work to do. It's a tremendous responsibility. And as Kim just disclosed, the amount of funds that are given out to the organizations. But I want you also to know that for the recipient organizations, these are funds that are leveraged by our own efforts in order to deliver more services and cultural experiences for the citizens of Douglas County. And, back when the SCFD was first authorized, it was such a unique thing across the country. We were a model and really a leader in the country with the SCFD. There are other communities across the nation that have adopted similar funding mechanisms, but really the SCFD was the leader. And so as someone who's been with Cherokee Ranch now for almost 10 years, I can tell you that what we were able to deliver to the citizens of Douglas County and also attracting patrons from outside of the county is very much as a result of the funding support we get from the SCFD. So I just want to thank you for appointing, and supporting the work of the Cultural Council and for supporting the organizations that bring culture and science to Douglas County. So thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, James. Appreciate it. Any other recipients who'd like to come forward and say a few words? Yes, ma'am. Please come forward. Please tell us your name and the organization you represent.
Thank you. My name is Namita Khanna, and I'm with Mudra Dance Studio. Last year was the first time we applied to Douglas County, and we are located in the Arapahoe County, but fell in love with the Pace Theater and have started doing our yearly recitals there. And we are the only Indian dance school. We're the first one. We're in our 32nd year, and our survival has been primarily also because of SCFD. You gave us the ability to continue doing whatever we want to do, expand our audience and our class sizes, and after the pandemic, we're back to almost the way we were before. And being a part of the Pace Theater and being able to perform there and also bring in a lot more of the audience from around there has been a very beautiful experience. So thank you so much for your support, and we appreciate it big time. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Are there any other grant recipients who'd like to say a few words? Come on forward, sir. Tell us your name. Tell us where you're from.
My name is Jim Ramsey, Executive Director for the Performing Arts Academy, and I just simply want to say thank you on behalf of our board, on behalf of our students. The SFD has been important in a number of ways, but you've literally helped us make a positive impact to thousands of students in Douglas County. Creating a safe space for learning, helping them become better versions of themselves, helping build their character and create confidence through the performing arts. That's why we exist, and I can't thank you enough. Blessings.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Any other recipients who'd like to come forward and say a few words? You guys got to decide. It's okay. We don't care who.
Hello, thank you, Commissioners. My name is Matt Hess. I'm the Executive Director of Pop Culture Classroom. We're an organization that gets kids excited about learning using comics, board games, all the stuff that you would find at Comic-Con. And at March 29th, I want to invite everyone. We're going to be doing a mini Comic-Con at Highlands Ranch Library. So we'll have free activities for kids, hands-on crafts, presentations of different educational, like how to make a comic, how to develop really cool characters. And if you are a nonprofit or even a for-profit, we do have opportunities for partners to come and connect with new audiences because we bring in kids who are excited to just have fun. They come and cosplay and run all over the library, just really engaging in the space in a new and fun way. And then it gives the other fellow nonprofits a chance to connect with those audiences that may not show up at their doors, but once they find out what you're up to, they probably will. So thank you again, Commissioners. Thank you to the SCFD Council staff on behalf of myself and the team at Pop Culture Classroom.
All right. Thank you, sir. Any other recipients who'd like to come forward? Come on forward, sir. Do tell us your name. Tell us where you're from. Although I think I recognize you.
Well, I hope so. My name is Ken Kittigo. I'm the Executive Director of HawkQuest. And just wanted to tell you how much the funding really means to HawkQuest. And, you know, we saw close to 1 million people last year doing what we do. But I just wanted to bring this out, and I don't know if you guys know this, but the libraries in Douglas County chose us to be their group. And how the program worked was you flock to the library, and the goal was to have the kids or anybody read 9 million minutes. And they did over 11 million minutes. And we also did every library in Douglas County. I live in Douglas County. I love this county. So I just want to thank you for all of your support, and of course the people in Douglas County. I don't know if you've already seen this, but this is really good. So I appreciate all the work you guys do. Thank you.
All right. Good. All right. Thank you, sir. Any other recipients like to come forward and say a few words? Come on forward, ma'am. Please do give us your name. Tell us where you're from.
Hi there, my name is Kristen Kidd. I'm the Marketing and Development Director over at Dinosaur Ridge. And because I'm in marketing, I have to know, how many of you been to Dinosaur Ridge? Yay, our people. Cool. We want all of you to come. We get about 200,000 people a year coming to learn about Colorado's prehistoric creatures. This was the site where the very first Stegosaurus fossils were discovered back in 1876, the same year Colorado became a state. And that is, of course, our state fossil. So we've got exciting things to see. And even though we're in Jefferson County, we serve a lot of students here in Douglas County who come on school field trips. And that can be private schools, charter schools, public schools, homeschools. That's one of our top missions is public education and then also fossil preservation. And the SCFD is our top funder. We're so grateful to Douglas County and all the counties that provide to us, even though we're in Jeffco, because we seek to serve everybody who lives in Colorado and every visitor who comes to Colorado. It's a unique place, and we're so appreciative in our 35th year as a nonprofit for your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Very much appreciated. Are there any other recipients who'd like to come forward and say a few words? And it does look like we've run out of folks here in the room. Let's go to Troy. Troy, do we have any recipients of the SCFD grant funds who would like to say a few words?
I have no online comments, sir.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Troy. Bringing it back to the board, commissioners, comments for the recipients and Kim.
Well, it is such an honor to be able to touch and concern science and culture in our community, and you all are such tremendous ambassadors of what that looks like. And you gave us a lot of credit for the Pace Center, and I'm just going to turn it right back to this area over here. We have a lot of members of Parker Town Council, and they are the reason that you have such a significant cultural facility in my district in Parker. So thanks to everybody from Parker and all of you for coming out today.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner.
This is always an exciting opportunity to see who all is going to get a letter today. But what's important is that you all provide services that benefit our residents. So thank you for being willing to participate in Douglas County.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner. I really appreciate what SCFD does here in the metro area, and I really appreciate our cultural council and Kim, all the work that you and your team does supporting them. You know, when you talk about the Western expansion, expanding America coast to coast, one of the things that always stands out when you read contemporary accounts and you look at the newspapers of the time, there was always some sort of cultural committee. And usually it was, the wives of the community wanting to keep some kind of culture that they brought back east out here into what was at the time the Wild West. And it's really a hallmark of what it is to be an American community, is that no matter how hard and hardscrabble and rough the life on the frontier was, there was always that attempt to preserve these, even just these little pieces of Western culture as we formed into the country we are today. So obviously, SCFD, Kim, you bring us spreadsheets and how the distribution goes and the criteria that awards are made, and yet that's still that kernel of trying to preserve culture here in our area and encourage it and feeding it to make it thrive. So great job, recipients. Well, congratulations. Welcome. If everyone will please join me in recognizing everyone who spoke today, but also the many recipients who did not come forward today, in a round of applause. All right, and then I think, Drew, you're getting ready. You're going to have us do another round of pictures with the recipients? Maybe? Could be?
Yeah, I'll bring up the letters, and then if you want to call their names, once your names are called, if you could stay back, we'd like to get a group photo.
Okay. Well, Kim, why don't you bring those forward? And commissioners, let's go out front and let's hand out some letters.
Well, and as a point of personal privilege, this is headed into my 7th year of doing this. I think oftentimes the organizations come prepared to share some of their cultural and scientific skills and talents with us. And the gentleman, I remember you singing Oklahoma to us maybe last year, the year before. It was amazing. So we look forward to that.
All right, we have one of our recipients that is very eager to get moving, it sounds like. I'll go ahead and get us started. Cherokee Ranch and Castle Foundation. And everybody can applaud if they'd like.
Resident historian.
Well, I try. Absolutely. And go ahead and just pull up a spot to the side, because we don't want to let you guys go too far. Commissioners.
Colorado Jazz.
I have Centro Cultural Mexicano.
All right, I don't know if Kim stacked these properly, but Friends of Dinosaur Ridge.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, or a Stegosaurus or something.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very
Congratulations. Absolutely.
The Highlands Ranch Cultural Affairs Association.
And I have Hawk West. Good to know. Congratulations. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, please do.
This is Don, one of my top eagle handlers, and this is a male golden eagle. And we have 4 eagles at Hawk Quest, and this is one of them that we bring in. And at Hawk Quest, we don't want to be a zoo, but the thing is all the birds we have at Hawk Quest, we all exercise it. We do fly this bird free, and let me tell you, it's quite a thing to see this bird do its thing. And the kids, of course, you can bring in slides and pictures and films, but personally, I think it's a lot more exciting to bring in the real thing. So thank you for letting me bring the bird in.
You bet. And then we'll get him in, and you guys too, when we get everybody up here for the final picture. Next up, Kim Robards Dance.
Highlands Ranch Historical Society.
Very nice. Thank you.
Thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Absolutely. I have Inside the Orchestra.
I hope I say this right, Mudra Dance Studio. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. Thanks for being here. Absolutely.
Performing Arts Academy.
And still have begged for more.
Okay, I have the Parker Area Historical Society. I don't know, anybody from Parker want to take this check back? All right, I think we might have some of those folks here. Okay, all right. Thank you, Josh. Good to see you. Good to see you. Congratulations.
Young Voices of Colorado. He's ready to roll. Young Voices of Colorado? All right, a round of applause for him anyhow.
Rocky Mountain Arts Association.
So why, here we come a caroling to be with you tonight.
And I have Pop Culture Classroom.
My last one is Ballet Ariel.
Ballet?
All right, I guess that's everybody. Well, let's go ahead and try to get set up here for a photo. At this time, I'd like to invite anybody forward to make public comment on any items on the consent agenda. Seeing none in the room. Troy, do we have anyone who'd like to make public comment remote on the consent agenda?
I have no online comment.
Thank you, Troy. Bringing it back to the board for action, how would we like to dispose of our consent agenda today?
Mr. Chair, if it pleases the board, I'm honored to make a motion to approve the requests in all items A through S of the consent agenda. Item T has been pulled.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any need for discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Consent agenda is adopted. On to our regular agenda items for the day. First item is More Housing Now grant application in the amount of $1,924,260 with a required in-kind cash match of $1,924,260 for a project total of $3,848,520. Rand Clark, Community Services Manager for staff.
Thank you, Commissioners. Good afternoon. Rand Clark, Community Development representing staff. The request before you today is for authorization for the Board of County Commissioners to submit an application to the State Department of Local Affairs, Division of Local Government for the More Housing Now grant in the amount of $1,924,260 with a required $1,924,260 in-kind cash match for a project total of $3,848,520. The More Housing Now grant was authorized by the state through funds made available under the Energy and Mineral Impact Assistance Program. Funds are generated from state severance tax on energy and mineral production and from a portion of the state's share of royalties paid to the federal government for mining and drilling of minerals and mineral fuels on federally owned land. More Housing Now funds may be used by local governments to offset the cost of infrastructure needed to support the development of attainable workforce housing. Eligible activities under the grant include publicly owned infrastructure and streetscapes improvements such as roadways, water, sewer, stormwater, publicly owned utility infrastructure, sidewalks, streetscape or placemaking improvements including high-efficiency streetlights, accessibility improvements, and bike or other multimodal improvements associated with an attainable workforce housing project. The More Housing Now grant would fund infrastructure and roadways needed to support Ulysses Development Group's development of the Ponderosa Pines project at 6783 Scott Boulevard. Ulysses Development Group intends to build 204 units of attainable workforce housing at this address. These units will provide housing for those working in Douglas County who earn less than 60% of the area median income. As a requirement for this project, roadway and infrastructure improvements will extend a 0.33-mile stretch of Pinery Center Boulevard and include the installation of traffic signals at the intersection of Scott Avenue and State Highway 83 and at Scott Avenue and Pinery Center Boulevard. For your reference, this is an aerial map of the site development, and the roadway improvements are in the area outlined in red. The estimated cost for the required infrastructure is $3,848,520. The More Housing Now grant application would request $1,924,260 and requires a 50% cash match. The cash match of $1,924,260 will be provided by Ulysses Development. No additional cost to the county will be incurred. Once this project is completed, the improved portion of Pinery Center Boulevard would be dedicated to the county. Staff recommends the Board of County Commissioners authorize submission of the More Housing Now application to the Division of Local Affairs in the amount of $1,924,260 with a required $1,924,260 in-kind cash match for a project total of $348,520. I'm happy to answer any questions. We also have representatives from Ulysses Group who can answer any additional questions you may have before each day. This concludes my presentation.
All right, thank you, Rand. Questions for Rand from the board?
I don't have any questions, Rand. Thank you for bringing this forward. I think that this is a much-needed workforce housing project in our county, and it's taking a lot of work to get there, but I'm looking forward to getting this started. So thank you.
You know, I think all of us, I'd certainly be included, are big believers in workforce housing and the opportunity for veterans, teachers, retail workers, those who work here and serve our community to be able to live here because we know that's also a traffic solution. When you're not congesting our highways and thoroughfares and you live where you work, there's greater mobility for everybody. So it serves a significant countywide concern. You know, for me, it's a lot about zoning and location, that first rule of real estate. But, you know, generally speaking, that notion of workforce housing is deeply significant.
So, Rand, just to roll back on a couple items, I mean, this is essentially for any sort of road infrastructure that would support the development, but really isn't on the property, or is it on property development too?
It is the roadway development on the property, those roadways once developed and the necessary improvements taking place that would be deeded back to the county.
Okay, so, but these are necessary roadway projects for this development then?
Yes, sir.
All right, and yet at the same time, even though these roads are going to be deeded back to the county, there's no additional county funds that are going to go into this?
No additional county funds will be going into this project if we were awarded this grant.
Okay. I think those are my questions. And we understand that Ulysses Group is present to make a couple of comments. Would Ulysses Group like to come forward? Please do tell us your name and what you do with Ulysses.
Thanks, Commissioners. My name is Ahmed Abdulhamid. I'm a Vice President with Ulysses Development. I think Rand hit it on the head what the request is, as he mentioned, with respect to the grant, the no cost to the county, and that at the end of the day, this is to the benefit of the county. And the road that we will be building and we'll be paying for the 50% match is out of our pocket for the project. Along with the road, there's the sidewalks, there's the bike path that'll connect the rest of the trail, the Cherry Creek Trail right there. So overall, we think it'll be a great benefit to the neighborhood as well. So thank you for your consideration of this application and request.
All right. And sir, I ask you to hang out in case we have any questions from the board for you? Questions from the board for Ulysses?
I do have a question. So these units are going to provide housing for those working in Douglas County who earn less than 60% of the area median income, based upon the 204 units that you're committing to for workforce housing. And perhaps this is a question for county staff as well, but what sort of accountability do we have to ensure that these funds are in fact used for workforce housing and meet those requirements?
So I believe, and Ahmed, please correct me if I'm wrong, one of your funding mechanisms for this project is through the private activity bonds and also through potentially some other state funding. And through that process, and then through the sub-grantee process, these units will be deed restricted. I believe it's at an average of 60% AMI. There's a few that are lower than that, a few that are higher than that. That'll be part of the deed restriction and the sub-grantee agreement that we, as the county, make with Ulysses when we, if we are awarded the funds and we're able to make that sub-grantee agreement that will then lock those units in.
Got it.
Through a couple of different mechanisms.
Correct.
Is that correct, Ahmed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So do you have any idea what the chances are of obtaining this grant? Anybody?
Yeah, I mean, so they had an application round in the summer as well, an August 1st application round. We're applying under the November 1 to December 1 round. And they had more funds than applications. So pretty rare these days, right? I can't speak on behalf of DOLA or DLG who's reviewing our application, but we've had a lot of discussions with them. And they have confirmed that this is a good fit for the application and for the use of the funds. So we'll put together our best application and hope we get awarded the funds.
Great. And just to verify, the residents in your project have to meet a certain AMI, but they don't have to be working in Douglas County. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay. Thank you. I don't have any other questions.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner. I don't have any questions for Ulysses. I think I supported the project when it came forward, and we did some land use on it. I still say it's probably a really good project. I think it's probably appropriate for you guys to hang the sign out front when you open, Ponderosa High School student teacher campus, because I think that's the most likely element of our workforce to find this as attractive living as a residence not far from where they would work. Just a reminder, everybody, it's very challenging for our police, our fire, our teachers here in the county to really find affordable housing that is at the same time comfortable and appropriate for what we demand of them in their daily lives. And I've always been a big supporter of the project that Ulysses is bringing forward to serve those elements of our community. I have no questions, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Commissioners, let's go ahead and open up for any public testimony on this grant application and required match. Is there anyone who'd like to come forward and give public testimony? I am seeing none in the room. Troy, turning to folks online who may wish to make public testimony on this item.
Thank you, Commissioner. I have no online comment.
Very good. Thanks, Troy. Bringing it back to the board. Board, how would we like to dispose of this item?
I do just have a comment I'd like to add.
Please.
I did vote for this project. I think even though there was a lot of opposition, it met the criteria for approval, and I was happy that I was able to approve it. I believe there was a 106 on it as well, and you prevailed, so this project is needed. It meets the criteria, so I'm looking forward to it getting built. I'd just like to add that a couple of weeks ago, I was able to do a tour of Meadowmark, which is another property that your company has put together. And it was beautiful, it was well-made, it looked like it had good construction, and I'm sure that it is going to provide housing to a lot of seniors who are going to be very happy to be living there. So I just think that's a model that you've started in our county, and I'm looking forward for you to continue that in the county.
All right, thank you, Commissioner.
And with that, I have a motion to approve the More Housing Now grant application in the amount of $1,924,260 with a required in-kind cash match of $1,924,260,000 for a total project amount of $3,848,520.
And I'll second that.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Very well. All in favor, say aye.
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 And that is approved. Thanks, Ulysses, for bringing this interesting opportunity our way. Go ahead and get that grant. All right, our next item is an intergovernmental agreement between Jefferson County regarding financial contribution for structure E-6-4-A, E-6-4A Bridge Project for an amount not to exceed $1 million, Douglas County Project Number CI 2024-023, Art Griffith, Capital Improvement Project Manager for staff. Go ahead, Art.
This is one of many partner projects that we are advancing with Jefferson County to improve bridge structures over the South Platte River, our jurisdictional boundary that we share with Jefferson County. This is in fact the third bridge in the last 5 years. These bridges are approximately 40 to 50 years old and need various types of rehabilitation. This particular project is about 2 miles downstream of the Trumbull Bridge, and it requires replacing the complete superstructure, the girders, the deck, and the railing, and we're able to slightly widen the bridge as part of this improvement project. It's estimated to cost between $3 and $4 million. That's kind of a big swing, but a lot of that depends on contractor availability to work in a fairly remote area. A lot of challenges getting material up there. So, of which we're requesting Douglas County contribute $1 million towards the project. That's a lump sum amount regardless of the price, as long as it's between $3 and $4 million. Some of the project costs could be used for construction management, and Jefferson County is currently waiting permits from Denver Water and Fish and Wildlife to approve a permit with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineer. They still believe and anticipate the project will be bid in first quarter 2025 and completed substantially completed in 2025. Any questions for me?
All right, questions for Art on this project?
I have none.
So Art, when I was reading the package, I was trying to figure out if this is a $3 to $4 million project, why is our share only $1 million?
It's a great question. When we negotiated the deal, they were thinking they were going to put in ARPA funds, and later on they weren't able to meet the deadlines of ARPA, so we had already established our budget as we presented to you last December of $1 million, and we're fulfilling that commitment. But a lot of the other projects we have split closer to 50-50, so great question.
That's what I thought. Thank you. I have no other questions.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. Art, I have no questions. You and I have talked a bunch about all these transportation projects over the years. I don't specifically remember this one popping up, but good job getting us in at a good price point so the work could be done appropriately. At that, if there are no other questions from the board, let's go ahead and open up to citizen testimony. Is there anybody who'd like to come forward and give citizen testimony on this IGA with Jefferson County? Seeing none in the room. Troy, do we have anybody who'd like to give remote testimony on this IGA?
No online testimony.
Thank you, Troy. Bring it back to the board for action. What is the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chair, if it pleases the board, I do have a motion to approve an intergovernmental agreement with Jefferson County regarding financial contribution for Structure E-6-4A Bridge Project for an amount not to exceed $1 million. Douglas County Project Number CI 2024-023.
Second.
All right, motion is second. Further discussion? I'm obviously in favor of this. Again, glad we can get some work done on the plat. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And the IGA is approved. Thank you, Art. Next item is the Town of Parker Municipal Shareback Request in the amount of $8,710,539. Luke Thornton, Parks Program Coordinator for staff.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Nick Gioke, presenting for Community Development. The Parks, Trails, and Historic Resources and Open Space Sales and Use Tax allows for shareback funds for municipalities wholly within Douglas County. Requests are presented to the advisory board that matches the nature of the project. The Town of Parker is requesting $8,710,539 from the Parks, Trails, Historic Resources, and Open Space Sales and Use Tax for the construction of Salisbury North Park, or Salisbury Park North. The request was presented to the Parks Advisory Board on September 11th, 2024, and unanimously recommended the request with a 8-0 vote. With us today, we've got representatives from the Town of Parker. We've got Mary Colton and Brett Collins. They're available if we have any questions for them.
All right, thanks, Nick. Questions from the board for Nick?
Well, Nick, thank you for sharing that, and thank you to every member of Parker Town Council and staff that are here with us today. As you know, I've had some very productive discussions with many of you, if not most, about this important project. And even though this shareback, consistent with the current ballot measure, is subject to Board of County Commissioner final approval, I want to make it very clear that I'm always going to be very supportive of the autonomy and independence of each municipality to chart their course and make determinations about what's best for those they serve. This park is phenomenal. It's shovel-ready. I think it will serve many residents. Part of the conversation that I think is so important is the importance of partnership. And of course, this county has a long-standing, phenomenal relationship with the town of Parker, and our ability to work well together does lift all boats and create opportunities that serve your residents and ours in a way that can be very significant. So part of my ask is the opportunity to continue those discussions. Obviously, we're moving forward with this. We know that supplemental amendments can always occur at any time. As plans develop from a county perspective, consistent with our citizen survey that's been expressed to us by many citizens who took the time to participate in that, my hope is that we can continue discussions moving forward around how to best allocate resources for the benefit of the entire region. I also wanted to share, this is no secret or surprise either. One of the biggest conclusions from our survey was, yes, our citizens love parks and open space and historic. So whether it's cultural, botanic gardens, parks and rec, open space, buffers, view sheds, they like it all. Our resources are significant, but they are limited. And so it will take a lot of partnership and public-private opportunities for us to advance those important goals. But my commitment is to ensure that whatever we ultimately make a decision upon as a Board of County Commissioners, and we are welcoming a new board here in this next year, beginning of 2025, that we always have the best interests of Parker, Castle Rock, Castle Pines, Lone Tree, all the areas of interest throughout the entire county. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner.
Thank you. I know that Parker has had a plan to develop the Salisbury Park area for a long time. In fact, when Parker received about $1 million from the sale of the Broncos for youth program activities, they put all of that money into Salisbury Park. This is their share back amount, $8.7 million. It's their money. It's Parker's ability to spend that in their town as they think is most beneficial. I absolutely support this. I understand that Parker has another $8 million ask coming to the county for a grant program. And the fact that you have put your share back dollars and your Bronco money into this tells me that you are serious about getting this done for your residents. So I absolutely support this. So thank you for those of you who are here.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner. I've got no further questions for you, Nick, but I'm happy to hear from the town of Parker. I know we have staff representatives. I also see Mayor Toberg and several members of the Parker Town Council. If you guys would like to come up to the podium and please share your comments. No, don't go pointing at everybody. Every one of you, get up here. Come on now. You made the trip. I know who you guys are.
Well, good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Mary Colton. I'm the Director of Parks and Recreation for the town of Parker. And as you have mentioned, this project has been a long time coming. This 91-acre Salisbury Park North was master planned back in 2014. And since then, we've been diligently setting aside funds, both internally and through our shareback contributions, and can finally kick off phase one next year. Commissioner Thomas, as you mentioned, we are shovel ready and excited to get this project underway. And 100% of these shareback funds will be applied towards this phase one project. So this project is special because it will feature the only eightplex ball field complex in Douglas County, which will help address the critical shortage of ball fields that we're currently facing and all well aware of. The Parks Advisory Board, as was mentioned by Nick, unanimously endorsed the project and our request, and we are ready and excited to get started. This will be a wonderful and fantastic amenity for not only Parker, but the entire Douglas County community, and we're confident that this park is special enough to attract some tournaments and, some regional activity as well. So we're just very excited to be here, to have this opportunity to partner with the county on this. This is going to be a game changer for the town of Parker, and with the support of our mayor and town council along the way and for this project, they are all standing here with me today in support, as well as some staff members, that this has been a long time coming and we're ready to go. So we appreciate your time today in hearing from us. And anyone else like to say a few words?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Mayor Jeff Toberg from the town of Parker. Let me just underscore a couple of things that Mary Colton, our Parks, Recreation, Open Space Director, just to emphasize what she said. This is being paid for by cash. We didn't bond out. We didn't borrow the money to do it. We've saved our big dollars, and including the shareback money that we've counted on. So we really appreciate you furthering this in a unanimous vote today. But Commissioner Layden, to your point, I do think there's a bigger conversation about parks in Douglas County. Funds are at not unending here in Douglas County. And, Parker needs a competitive swimming pool that serves the county. Parker needs a hockey rink that serves the county. We can all get together to do that. Now, whether we do that with shareback, whether we do that with other funds, I think that's a good conversation that we have after the first of the year in really trying to take that bigger metro look at what we do around parks. But for this, I can tell you that the new ball fields, the 4 new ball fields, the new pickleball courts, which is huge in Parker. And as we're all aging in place here, pickleball is the thing. It's easier on your joints and stuff, so that's a big one. But what you don't see too is, I think, is the BMX track that's coming to that area, as well as parks on the other side is the Cherry Creek Trail Park. So this is a regional park for us, and we're very excited to have saved up that shareback money as well. But Commissioner Elliott and I look forward after the first of the year to having those bigger conversations with you. So thank you, Commissioners. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Mayor. Any other members of the town council?
No, sir. Thank you.
I heard you guys talk all the time. I don't know. Come on forward, John.
All right.
Tell us who you are.
John Dyack, Commissioner, council member. I'm looking at commissioners here. My apologies. Growing up in Douglas County, 41 years, I kind of grew up with the town, with the county. I remember, and I was talking to Mary Colton here before, when this parcel was purchased by the town of Parker. And the best we can remember, it was early to mid-90s. And for those council members to have the vision and the commitment and conviction to buy a parcel that they knew was going to be used later is quite honestly unheard of to me. Back in the day, I tried to find where this parcel was. Back then in the early 90s, there wasn't a lot of road connections. Motzenbacher was a dirt road. And found it, and it was a snowy day, and I didn't really see what this is, and for us to be here and to visualize what these people thought they could potentially do for the citizens is just amazing. And Commissioner Teal, I remember back reading through some articles, and I think I'm going to paraphrase you. Is that it's our job to take credit for what others have started, and we need to start what others will take credit for. I believe I read that in an article that was cited to you. So we're here to take credit for those of what transpired many decades ago. And so thank you for having us and for being a part of this journey with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, council member. Any other members of council would like to speak on this subject? Josh, come on forward. Do you give us your name?
Joshua Rivero, Parker Town Council, resident of the town of Parker. I just want to speak to the regionality of this park. It is the central park of Parker. And Parker, it's 67 strong. But more importantly, we're 120,000 Douglas County residents, from Stepping Stone to Ponderosa Hills, from the Pinery to Stonegate, folks that live in unincorporated Douglas County that use this as their central park. It'll be amazing. It's going to be an amazing addition. Truly appreciate your support. When I was a kid, my family moved to Parker for horses, and my daughter still rides to this day, and she's ridden at this park. The southern edge that you kind of don't see there is the equestrian area. It also housed our public works. And when I was a kid, I might have gotten into some trouble. And in order to get out of that trouble, I had to do some community service. And it was at that building at what we call Mott's. And I had to shovel some asphalt into the back of a pickup truck for a few hours. But anyway, this park means a lot to us. It means a lot to Parker. It means a lot to the northeast corner of Douglas County. And this is going to be a regional jewel for the northeast corner of our community. And we truly look forward to your support in this endeavor and all endeavors we come in front of you. So thank you so much, Commissioners. Appreciate you taking the time to hear us today.
Thank you, council member. Speaking of getting in trouble in your youth, Josh,
Yes, sir.
Larry Lewis says hello.
He might, never mind.
I'll be seeing more of him this weekend. Any other members of council like to come forward? Ann, Brandy, more than happy to hear from you. All right, we'll let you guys be bashful. That's fine. No sweat. Turning back to the board. Board, any questions for the delegation from Parker Town?
I don't. This is my district, and so I'm deeply proud of each of you, and the service that you commit to your community is to be commended. You know your citizens far better than I or any of us here, and government is best that is closest to the people. I often say that's the danger of misinformation and disinformation. And I think part of today is to set the record straight. When you get information that somehow the county is not supportive of your share back, hearing it from the horse's mouth that, yes, we are, and I am, is deeply important to us. So thank you for being here to hear the truth of that. That said, one thing that many of you know from working with me so long is that I'm a yes and person. So if we can do this and also hockey and swimming and things that will attract a regional sports village that could bring people from all over the country, that would be the goal. And I point to places like the Boomba Sports Field in Florida that is, it's 15 baseball fields. And instead of Parker citizens flying to Boomba in Florida or Georgia or Texas, the Hawks can host those tournaments here. So more to come, and I think it's early to have those discussions today, but I'm really looking forward to your wisdom, your expertise, and input as we go forward.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner.
I'd like to thank you all for being here and for talking about how long this has been a vision for Parker. If this property was perhaps purchased back in the 90s, that talks about how long it takes to get a project like this thought about, planned, conceived, and funded. I've been reading about a sports complex in Windsor that just went into bankruptcy last month. I'm trying to get all the details. It sounds like it was 100 acres. Right now it's $10 million in debt. It's been shut down. So I just point this out, that this has been going on for 7 years. This article says that there's been promises and then it's failed, and it's just, maybe they didn't have the good work that you have put into this project and taken a long time and found the money to do it in phases so it is a success for your citizens. And so I'd like to thank you for being here and sharing with us what you have. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Mayor, council members, Mary, I don't think I have any questions for you. This looks like a great project to me. I'll just also introduce, I did hear from your colleague, Councilmember Hendricks, who also spoke in favor of awarding the share back for this project. And again, he expressed his enthusiasm about this as well. So I think it's a great idea, but let's go ahead and open the floor for public comment. At this time, if there's anybody who'd like to give public testimony pertaining to the share back, please step forward. And seeing none in the room, Troy, is there anyone online who would like to give remote testimony on this share back request?
I have no online comments, sir.
All right, thank you, Troy. Bringing it back to the board, what is the pleasure of the board?
Since this is my district, Mr. Chair, I'd be honored to make a motion to approve the Town of Parker municipal shareback request in the amount of $8,710,539.
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I would just add, we're never casual about nearly $9 million going out anywhere. So this is a significant moment, and we're thankful that Parker was here to participate in that.
Any further discussion? So, hey, Councilmember Dyack, I think actually, thank you for remembering the phrase that I brought forward, because, yeah, I really do think there's so much that we do here at the county, but I even think about the things, I look back at my former colleagues on Castle Rock Council behind you, and I think of all the things that we started doing then that, quite frankly, have only come to fruition this year. And John, you and I worked on the Crystal Valley Interchange down at Dr. Cobb for years and years while we were trying to work all of our project priorities as a county together to get it through the regional board. And so thanks for reminding me of that, and you're oh so true. Absolutely. So I think this looks like a great project. I'll just remind everybody, we were struggling with Parker to remember the last time you guys came in for your share back. It hasn't happened in the 3 years. You haven't taken advantage in the 3.5 years I've been on the board, and we were actually struggling to remember the last time Parker came in. So you definitely did save up your pennies here with your share back dollars, and it looks like a great use that I do agree. will have a regional significance for the northeast portion of the county. So well done, Parker. Well done, Mayor. Well done, council members. Thank you very much for coming here today. With that said, there is a motion and a second on the question of the Parker Municipal Shareback request. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And the request is granted. We have a wonderful photo opportunity, so I'd invite the entire Parker team to come forward with the commissioners. Let's get a picture to memorize the day.
Oh, when you say, I want to introduce you, this is one of our. Very good, thank you for joining us. Commissioner Thomas, this is one of our cultural.
I'm normally short, but I wore my heels today, so.
Get some more people over there.
To be all short.
Can we come down to like right here?
Yeah, we gotta get the sign in, guys.
Yep, all the way to here. Come all the way to here.
All right, cool. Thanks, guys. Thank you for singing to yourself. Sorry. It's in the mail. It's totally in the mail. No problem. Ladies, thank you for coming. Appreciate it. Thank you again. Thanks, guys. All right, from our second largest municipality in the county to our largest municipality in the county. Next item is the Town of Castle Rock Municipal Shareback request in the amount of $3,700,000. Nick, you taking this one too?
I sure am.
All right, begin when you're ready, sir.
Thank you. Once again, Nick Gioke representing Community Development. As I said with the last one, the Parks, Trails, Historic Resources, and Open Space Sales Use Tax allows for shareback funds from municipalities wholly within Douglas County. Requests are presented to the advisory board that matches the nature of the project. The Parks, Trails, Historic Resources, and Open Space Sales Tax allows for shareback funds from municipalities wholly within Douglas County. The town of Castle Rock is requesting $3,700,000 of their municipal shareback from for renovations at Mitchell Gulch Park. The request was presented to Parks Advisory Board on October 9th, 2024, and the Parks Advisory Board unanimously recommended the request with a 7-0 vote. Representatives today from Castle Rock are here with us. We have Mayor Pro Tem Desi LaFleur and Assistant Parks and Recreation Director Jeff Smolin.
All right, questions for Nick?
So Nick, my only question is, this project is already complete, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, I have no other questions.
Thank you, ma'am. Commissioner, any questions?
Well, no questions, but I'll just echo the same sentiments. Obviously, we've had a great history of phenomenal partnership with Castle Rock, most recently Lost Canyon, which has been such an exciting new development for really all citizens in Douglas County and the region, and particularly in Castle Rock. I would reiterate more to come, and if we can be a yes here, my hope is that we can continue conversations with Castle Rock around ways we can really elevate parks and recreation in a way that is best in class and iconic for all we serve.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. I have no questions on this one, Nick, but let's go ahead and hear from the town. Jeff, I guess you had the rose pinned on you, or Desi, or you got Mayor Pro Tem LaFleur. I guess you're going to take it.
Fine.
Yeah, it is the way we talk to each other. She is my Mayor Pro Tem, so.
Well, thank you, Commissioners, and thank you for having us here today. We appreciate it. We're excited for the opportunity to request support from the Parks, Trails, Historic Resources, and Open Space Fund, which passed with an overwhelming voter support of almost 88% in 2022. Shareback funds are a vital resource for renovating parks in Castle Rock and adding new amenities that enhance local quality of life, which align with the goals outlined in Ballot Measure 1A, to create and maintain recreational amenities. Without the Shareback Fund, Castle Rock wouldn't have all of the amazing open space and parks that residents now enjoy. This funding is crucial for providing vibrant community spaces for families to gather, for children to play, and for nature to thrive. Shareback funds have been key in major park renovation projects, such as building Castle Rock's first fully inclusive possibility playground at Butterfield Park. They also supported the redevelopment of Festival Park, home to many of our cherished community events right here in downtown, and the creation of Philip S. Miller Park, now a regional draw, featuring an outdoor amphitheater and an epic adventure course. We are also looking forward to future Shareback projects on the horizon, such as constructing new tennis and basketball courts and adding ADA-compliant pathways and parking at Centennial Park, the oldest park in Castle Rock, refurbishing the Challenge Hill Stairs at Philip S. Miller, and developing trails and providing parking at Cobblestone and Mancanta Open Space. And also, let's not forget, providing public access to the newly acquired Lost Canyon Ranch. With me here is Jeff Smolin, our Assistant Director of Parks and Rec, to give some more details on our needs here in this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Go ahead, Jeff.
Thank you, Commissioners. We just have our request for our $3.7 million to fund Mitchell Gulch Park through the town's shareback allocation. This is a little bit different than you've heard before. This one, you can see the park finished. This was one that the project was advanced through an interfund loan that accelerated the completion to better serve the residents in the Founders and Castlewood Ranch neighborhoods. We can maybe skip through a couple of slides here. We'll get, as Mayor Pro Tem LaFleur talked about, recent projects that were funded. Butterfield Park Possibilities Playground. It's a really exciting project that brought our first fully inclusive playground into the town of Castle Rock through a well-needed renovation of Butterfield Park, something we couldn't have done without shareback funds. Thank you. Here you can see kind of the previous condition of Mitchell Gulch Park, another one of the older parks in the town of Castle Rock. Thank you. As you can see now, we've moved through to the new park here. You see a new playground structure. Other amenities that we've installed were new picnic pavilions, plumbed restroom, paved parking areas, BMX pump track, fitness equipment, site furniture, and 6 new tennis courts. The grand opening, and you kind of see an aerial view of this, doesn't show the tennis courts that are kind of behind us here, but this is sort of the core of the park. Thank you. You can see our grand opening celebration out here. This was on July 10th. We featured a Hawaiian luau theme to say aloha to the new reimagined park. This park was really well received. We had hundreds of residents in attendance that also helped in the input to design this park and redesign this park. You can see some of the elements here from our opening day. And then as we move forward this year, actually just starting now out at Centennial Park, I've got a contractor on site this week. If we can go to the next slide. As Mayor Pro Tem said, this is our oldest park in Castle Rock, and we've got some substandard facilities here. The rest of the park has been renovated over the last few years, and now we're looking to do this last piece. And you can see this is not something we like to show, but this is the reality, and this is something we're going to fix out at that park. Thank you. And that's all I have. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
All right. I do notice we do have other representatives from the town. I see Councilmember Brooks, the town manager, the assistant town manager. Guys, please feel free to come up and add your comments.
Oh, come on, Dave.
And Councilmember, although you are no stranger to the board or many people in House District 45, if you could please give us your name.
Thank you. Max Brooks, councilman from Council Rock. I've been a resident of Douglas County for almost 20 years. I'm still somewhat dismayed in just awe of how our friends here with Parker had not so subtly kind of slid in that request for an ice rink. I apparently I need to come a little bit more prepared and make sure that I'm ready to ask for those things as well. But I want to echo back a couple of words and kind of the intent that I've heard here today. That is partnership and autonomy, right? That I really appreciate the autonomy to be able to make these decisions to where we are putting funds to things like the Possibilities Playground. Personally, for me, Mitchell Park, that's in my council election district. And it's beautiful, especially to see what it was before and what it is today. So very, very thankful of the ShareBack program, but then also the partnership. Because that's really the piece of it here. Even through the SEFD presentation that we heard earlier, it's this collaboration between the county and the municipalities for everything here within the county. Parker had made mention about how this is a regional appeal. Their project brings in residents throughout Douglas County. Lost Canyon Ranch will be an example of that with Castle Rock. But those are the opportunities for us to continue to partner together and to look for ways of being able to solve the problems as we move forward. Being able to find ways to be able to make sure that your hearing room isn't always filled with green jerseys, right? That we're finding solutions. But not that it's bad that the Raptors came out. It was very nice to see their level of involvement. But still, we need to work together to ensure that we're finding the solutions for all of Douglas County. So again, thank you so much for that collaboration and for that partnership. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Councilmember. Any other member of the Castle Rock team wish to speak on this subject? Seeing none, shaking heads in the back, seeing none. Board, any questions for the representatives from the town of Castle Rock?
So I do have a question. Is Centennial Park part of Mitchell Gulch Park?
It is not. Centennial Park is located in downtown Castle Rock by Burgess Pool. This is just a preview of some of the things that we're doing with ShareBack funds in Castle Rock. So this was kind of the upcoming next projects, but the focus of this was for the Mitchell Gulch. The money that is being spent is on Mitchell Gulch Park renovation.
And so Centennial Park is the next one that you want to bring forward that you haven't asked for yet?
We are taking a look at that. It looks like the funding that we have in our Conservation Trust Fund is sufficient to do that. But typically that's a use of ShareBack funds if that is something that we need to come forward in the future for.
Okay, I lived in Castle Rock starting in '84. I thought that was Burgess Pool there, but I wasn't sure, and that's nowhere near Mitchell Gulch, so that's where I got confused.
That is right. Just above Burgess Pool, kind of up, kind of the higher elevation in the park where those courts exist right now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Sorry for the confusion.
Further questions for our friends and colleagues in Castle Rock?
I think you all said it perfectly. We celebrated recently the 20-year anniversary of the partnership of Douglas County governments, and it's through these amazing relationships with each of you that great things happen. So thank you.
Well, thank you too.
All right. Well, I don't think I have any questions. I very well remember my very first meeting minutes after being sworn into this position. And Jeff, you were in here with the other Jeff, with Mr. Brower, and requesting ShareBack dollars in 2021 that turned into the successful completion of Emerald Park, which, just a shout out to John Dyack again. John, Emerald Park is that one park I talked to you about planning all those years ago, and you asked, who am I? What did I do with George Teal that I wanted to talk about building a park in Castle Rock? So it was a project begun in Castle Rock while I was still in the Castle Rock Town Council. But thanks to the ShareBack dollars, we were able to get it completed, and we opened it, Jeff, last month, month before?
Last month.
A much-needed park in the Plum Creek neighborhood, made possible with ShareBack dollars. So again, I think Castle Rock does a great job managing their shareback dollars and putting them to good use. I have no other questions, however, and so with that said, unless there's further questions from the board for staff or applicant, let's go ahead and open it up to public testimony. Is there anybody who'd like to come forward and give public testimony on the shareback request from our friends and colleagues in Castle Rock? Seeing none. Troy, do we have anybody online who would like to give remote testimony on the shareback request?
I have no online testimony.
Very good. Thank you, Troy. Bringing it back to the board for action, what is the board's pleasure?
I have a motion to approve the Town of Castle Rock Municipal share back request in the amount of $3,700,000.
And I'll second that.
Very good. We have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? I think it's, you guys do great work. I'm glad that you're in here today. Thanks for coming in and sharing these neat projects that you're working on. There is a motion, a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And the shareback request is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you to our friends and colleagues in Parker and Castle Rock. Oh, hang on, Castle Rock. Let's get a picture with you guys too. Yes, town manager, town assistant, town manager also.
Bless you.
So, no, that's this was the only clean clothes. It's the only clean clothes I had from my trip into Italy.
And this guy's calling.
This guy's calling me while I'm eating. You just got back? Yeah. Yeah, so.
But he taught me the required words. See, do you take these and ciao? Ciao. Molto bene. Molto bene.
Thank you. Thank you all. Yeah, grazie.
Dave complained about, the only clean clothes. I'm still campaigning.
Thank you so much.
No shooting time for me today. Dave, thank you.
Fresh back from Europa.
Always a pleasure to be joined by our municipal friends and colleagues. Our next item is an ordinance establishing business licensure requirements to regulate massage facilities and to regulate and prohibit unlawful activities for the sole purpose of deterring illicit massage business and preventing human trafficking within Douglas County. Casey Brown, County Attorney, presenting for staff.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good afternoon, members of the board. Well, as this board is aware, human trafficking has become a major problem in the United States and across the globe. It's received recent attention in recent years, or increased attention in recent years, rather, and it involves the trafficking of vulnerable individuals in our community for profit. The United States State Department estimates the approximate number of victims worldwide at about 27 million. It's a crime of exploitation. It constitutes a human rights abuse. It compromises national and economic security. It undermines the rule of law, and it harms communities such as ours. But it often goes unnoticed, even in communities such as Douglas County, unless it's being looked for. It's a transient issue, and traffickers, as well as their victims, move when they attract the attention of law enforcement. And this makes enforcement of human trafficking very difficult. They're not tied to specific areas, and they move around when the heat is applied. Massage facilities are often used to conceal human trafficking operations. As this board is aware, most massage facilities provide important and valuable services. Most massage therapists are skilled professionals. But the private and physical nature of massage therapy lends itself to obscuring human trafficking operations. And inconsistent laws in various jurisdictions compound this issue. Strict laws in one jurisdiction results in heightened activity elsewhere, and it just simply moves. And that's why a consistency of laws across multiple jurisdictions is important. Recently, there have been efforts to develop such uniform laws in different jurisdictions, and specifically in Colorado. There have been significant actions taken by this board to address the problem here in Douglas County. Commissioner Layden has kind of led the charge in pursuing litigation at the state level that would authorize the county to regulate massage businesses on the local level. In 2022, the General Assembly passed a bill authorizing counties to regulate massage facilities within the county. This was an optional endeavor. The counties weren't required to license massage facilities, but they had the authority to do so. And in 2023, this board took action by passing an ordinance and a resolution to regulate massage facilities in Douglas County. As this board is aware, it sits as the licensing authority, and massage therapists were already licensed by the state. So essentially what we've been doing in calendar year 2024 is licensing the facilities and specifically the owners, doing background checks and ensuring that they are fit for owning such a business. The bill also authorized counties to do inspections at massage facilities and provided for approval or rejection criteria when someone applies for a license. In 2024, this year, the General Assembly passed House Bill 241371, which amended that original bill that gave the counties this authority. And it's made a handful of changes. Ultimately, it found that human trafficking is a matter of mixed statewide and local concern. And because of that, essentially changed the optional massage facility licensure to a mandatory licensure. And it required that not only should all counties in the state participate, but also all municipalities within those counties, and that all of the local governments should work together to make sure that there are no, essentially, holes in the net. It expanded the background checks beyond just the owners of these businesses to every employee. So now there are no kind of holes in the management structure of the business. Each and every employee of the business must get licensed or do a background check now. And it expanded the scope of the background check as well. So Douglas County has updated its ordinance and its resolution. The ordinance provides for the substantive requirements or regulations, and the resolution provides for the procedural framework that we use in order to put that in motion.
All right. Thank you, Councilor Brown. Appreciate it. Any questions for Casey from the board?
Well, first and foremost, my understanding is that we're taking up E and F at the same time, correct?
That was not how I introduced it, but we certainly could if we'd like to.
Well, I defer to Casey. I think that would probably be appropriate, but I just want to personally thank you, Casey, for your tremendous work. We have been so incredibly fortunate in Douglas County to have your exceptional and bright legal mind serving those that we serve and many throughout the entire region. So you and your entire staff have been just tremendous. 1371 was our bill, and we were really happy that that got taken up in a bipartisan manner and signed by the governor. It's such a small piece in the work. And I've often said there are more human trafficking sites in the Denver metro area than there are Starbucks. And once you look at that issue and see it, you can't look away. No matter where you are politically, no matter, what demographic or background you come from. So it's encouraging to see decision makers come together around this issue. And we're advancing more legislation this year. And I know you're taking an active role in working with our lobbyists on that and our many partners to ensure that we're deterring Johns and increasing criminal penalties for human trafficking. But it is encouraging to see us pass a couple of motions connected to the work that began as legislation here and your great endeavors. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Commissioner.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner, any questions for Casey?
No, well done, Jim.
All right, Casey, I don't think I have any questions. We've been working on this one for a while. I think you've taken us through the ins and the outs in our numerous work sessions to get us to this point. So I have no questions. Good job. Nice presentation. And just to make sure, we'll ask if you have anything to add for item F as well. All right, at this stage, we're going to open the floor for any public testimony on this ordinance. Is there anybody who'd like to give public testimony on this ordinance? I see none in the room. Troy, is there anyone online who'd like to give remote testimony on this ordinance?
I have no online testimony.
Thank you, Troy. Bringing it back to the board for action on the ordinance.
Mr. Chair, if it pleases the board, I'm honored to make a motion to approve an ordinance establishing business licensure requirements to regulate massage facilities and to regulate and prohibit unlawful activities for the sole purpose of deterring illicit massage business and preventing human trafficking within Douglas County, Colorado.
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Discussion. Well, I'll just go ahead and jump in. Abe, this is another one of your initiatives that you really brought before the board. And I got to be honest, when we first started talking about it, I wasn't sure that I was in support, but you made a great case. You brought in folks who familiarized the board with the real concerns that are going here. And obviously, it wasn't just us. I mean, we're not just passing an ordinance today. You pushed through legislation at the state level to have this recognized as a real threat to public safety and a loophole that we had to close. So my hat's off to you, buddy. This is great work. Thanks so much for bringing it before us and, working with staff and working with legal to where we could be here today to pass this ordinance and ultimately, make our society safer. I think this is great commissioner work, and I'm glad we're here. Any further discussion?
Well, I would just like to extend the credit back to both of you. I mean, one commissioner can do very little, if anything, and without the support of this board, we would not have been able to advance this legislation. So huge thanks.
Very good. Any further discussion? There is a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 And the ordinance passes. Casey, any intro for our resolution establishing, hang on. Let me go ahead and move us along then. Our next item is very much related to the prior ordinance. It is a resolution establishing a procedural framework for administration of massage facility licensure in Douglas County. Casey, anything to add?
Just a few additional comments, Mr. Chair. This, as I mentioned previously, is the procedural framework that we use to essentially put the licensure scheme in motion. The big change that we have to the resolution as a result of that change that passed in the General Assembly is the expansion of background checks to the employees of the business, as I mentioned previously. One of the discretionary measures that Douglas County has elected to take with respect to those employees and in individual background checks is to waive the fee associated with that, so that when we have employees who are not therapists, not owners, maybe cleaning staff or other support staff starting a new job with a massage facility, they are not incurring an expense before they even get a paycheck. So that's all I've got on that issue.
All right, thank you, Casey. Questions for Casey pertaining to this resolution?
I have none, thank you.
And I have none. Thank you again.
And nor do I. Once again, Casey, we really appreciate you working with us to bring us to this point in the many sessions. And having looked through the framework, it looks perfectly reasonable to me in enacting this ordinance. Therefore, if no further questions for Casey, let's open it for public testimony. Is there anyone who'd like to give public testimony on this resolution? Seeing none in the room. Troy, do we have anybody online for remote testimony?
Thank you, Commissioner. I have no online comment.
Thank you, Troy. Bring it back to the board for action. What is the pleasure of the board?
I have a motion to approve a resolution establishing a procedural framework for administration of massage facility licensure in Douglas County.
And I'll second that motion.
Very good. There's a motion and a second. It does, again, everything looks reasonable to me in making this ordinance a reality. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
and the resolution is adopted. Casey, good job. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioners.
All right, moving through. Moving through our agenda, it's time, at this time, we're at citizen comments, organization comments. At this time, you are welcome to comment about any topic other than those that appeared on today's agenda. This is an opportunity to share your thoughts and ideas with us. Please state your name and where you reside prior to making comments. You will have up to 3 minutes. Obscenity and any comments calling for criminal or violent action are prohibited and could result in your removal from the chamber. Commissioner comments, if any, will follow all citizen comments. At this time, is there anyone who'd like to come forward for citizen comments? And for those of you who are watching us online, this is an empty room. I see no one coming forward for citizen comments. But Troy, do we have anybody online who would like to make citizen comments remote?
I have no online citizen comment.
Very good. Thank you very much, Troy. At this time, we have commissioner comments. Commissioners, any comments for the good of the order?
I would just like to reach out and thank everyone who works on our fair and our rodeo. I understand that the Douglas County Fair and Rodeo was nominated for 3 different awards. They did win the award for large rodeo, competing against the Greeley Stampede and Cheyenne Frontier Days. And they again won the award for best ground. So congratulations to everybody who worked so hard to make the Douglas County Fair and Rodeo a success.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner, any commissioner comments? Very good. Thank you, Commissioner. My commissioner comments, I'd just like to reiterate something I talked about a little earlier. This Saturday, beginning at 10 a.m., we will be hosting a Veterans Day ceremony here at the Wilcox Building, that is 301 Wilcox Street, here in Castle Rock, right by the Veterans Memorial. We hope to see everyone there. Ceremony will actually begin at 11 o'clock, as is routine for Veterans Day events. And we will be hearing from a guest speaker talking about, he's a Purple Heart recipient, talking about the history of the Purple Heart and its importance. And then we have a couple other items to introduce, to include what we hope to be beginning work on the Heroes Hall, Veterans Event Center at our fairgrounds. Everyone is welcome. We hope you can make it. Moving to other business. Do we have any other business? I note that the county manager has no report. Very good. All right. Well, in that case, we'll adjourn. Our next business meeting will be held on Tuesday, November 19th, 2024 at 1:30 p.m. We're adjourned.